my list of cons, but here's a new pro. The college football playoff will be a national event now. And maybe, just maybe, this feeling that, oh, Mark, it's going to be irrelevant because Alabama and Georgia are still going to be there in the end. Maybe not. Maybe the fact that you'll have Pitt in the playoff or Oregon State in the playoff. Maybe that reality will lead to better recruiting that could actually beat Alabama or Georgia. How do we know? Because that is what we're seeing in college basketball right now, my friends. Right now in college hoops, teams that previously didn't have a chance, teams that last year didn't have a chance, are now vying for the greatest prize of all. And I think that is freaking fantastic. So what do you guys think? I'll open with this question to you. How is America going to answer this question? You know, because we all say we love Cinderella. Just not Mike Bothwell from Furman. He doesn't like it because, and this is a great answer, he said, look, Cinderella didn't feel like she had deserved or earned what she had coming to her. We do. We did. Didn't like the term Cinderella. We all say we love the term Cinderellas. But is that really possible when the ratings say we don't? The ratings say we peace out, right? The ratings say we peace out. Now, I've got a piece of audio from Colin Cowherd right here. Okay, I've got a piece of audio from Colin Cowherd. And Colin Cowherd was talking about this very thing. And what he was saying was that, look, even though, people say they love upsets, they don't. And in so doing, he dissed the hometown team. Check this out.
This is how rough it is for the NCAA tournament. Do you know what the standalone game is to start Saturday NCAA tournament? It's nationwide game for everybody. Furman against San Diego State. Everybody, that's the standalone game. Like,
everybody always wants the upset, but then you're stuck with Furman. What you want is a couple of 8, 9 upsets and a case of 5, 12. You want the 1, 2, 3, and 4 to win. It's good for ratings. They have huge fan bases. Also, do you really want a Duke, an Arizona, a UCLA, a Kentucky? You really want to bounce first weekend? Those are big brands that everybody's got an emotional, historic connection to.
If everybody just wants the big brands, why do little teams even bother to play the game, Colin? I can't stand this kind of smug attitude from people. They talk about college football this way. They talk about college basketball this way. I think what we're talking about is people who have a very, very, very narrow idea of what watchable college athletics is. And so they're stuck behind that. They're looking. It's like, remember when you were a kid, when your mom would use the last paper towel on the paper towel roll, and you would hold the tube up to your eye like it was a periscope. I think that's how Colin Cowherd views sports. If it's not one of these 10 to 20 big brands across all sports, well, I'm just not interested. And if I'm not interested, nobody else is interested. Like, shut up, Colin Cowherd. Nobody asked you.
But these are the problems.
Smug SOB.
The problem is, the ratings say that he's right, and that's why I think the most fascinating element between now and the end of this tournament is 4 biggest brands are gone. Thus far, it's been the highest rating first round ever.
Well, people need to try a little bit harder. My point is people need to try a little bit harder. When one team gets knocked out of a tournament, takes you out of being a fan of that sport, then you're not a very good fan of that sport, are you? No.
That's fair.
I'm telling you to dig a little bit deeper. I'm telling you to try a little bit harder.
Look at this map, Diesel. Look at this map, America. I'm showing you the map of the teams that comprise March Madness right now. Okay, and I'm going to flip this around. Thankfully, not flipping you around, Diesel. Have no interest in that. But I'm going to show you these. Look at the map of the Sweet 16. Does that not beautifully comprise the United States of America? What is college football not doing right now in the playoff? They're not doing that, right?
Every region is represented.
It's beautiful. It is such a beautiful thing. You've got Alabama, Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, and Miami from the south. Arkansas from the south. Texas and Houston from the middle of the country. You got Xavier, Michigan State, Creighton, Kansas State from the Midwest. You got Princeton and UConn from the East. And then you have San Diego State, UCLA, Gonzaga from the West Coast. And it's just gorgeous. It is just beautiful. It is probably why this diversity, this thing that makes America the greatest country on earth, the diversity that we're not getting in college football, we're getting in March Madness this year.
Diversity, it's more than just an old wooden ship.
That is my favorite line ever. That is my favorite line ever. Where is that line from, ladies and gentlemen? Don't tell them, Diesel. Don't tell them. Most of the time, I'm so proud when I get one of Diesel's movie references because it's like a 1 out of 10 thing for me.
Yeah, I go deep on some of these things.
Yeah, I got that one. So where is that movie reference? Diversity is not an old wooden ship, ladies and gentlemen. First person that gets it gets special recognition here on the show. We've got our buddy Jake Crane joining us next, right here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. It's Offsides. Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Marc, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. Yeah, shared with you, man. I think the fascinating thing about the rest of March Madness for me is we're going to get the answer to the age-old question, do we really like Cinderellas? We're getting the highest-rated March Madness we've ever seen thus far. Yet again, the four biggest brands, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, are all gone. So in the past, the Cinderella didn't get the ratings. We said we love Cinderella. We didn't really. What happens? Does this maintain as the highest rated March Madness ever? It's going to be fascinating to see. Joining us right now, the very talented Jake Crane from Crane and Company on the Real Daily Wire joining us here on the show. Jake, if I were to pose to you right off the bat here, Alabama or the field, who are you taking?
Man, I got to take the field. Heck, in this year's tournament, you almost have to take the field. Even though Alabama, to me, I think is the best team left in this tournament, not because of just Brandon Miller, but because of their depth. That's been the reason that this team is seemed to be able to take the next step for Nate Oates. That and they'll play defense for 40 minutes when the shots aren't falling. Those are the two biggest differences.
Jake Crane joining us here on the show today. What do you make, Jake, about the fact that, this tournament is doing an outstanding job of covering the entire country? If you actually look at the regions of America, every region from the Northeast to the Southeast to the South to the Midwest to the West Coast, it's all covered. And I don't think that college football does a really great job of doing that. Does that speak to you to why the ratings are what they are of this tournament?
I always kind of yield back to it's always hard comparing college football and baseball because, you have 350 teams in Division I in basketball and 130 something in football. So you have more chances to hit more areas. And look, the Cinderella story, the underdog story is loved by America because we were the first ever 16 seed to beat a 1 seed. It wasn't UMBC. Hell, we beat England. We're still the biggest underdog Cinderella story of all time. But when you have that many teams and you have 68 teams, including the play-in teams that get in the tournament, you're able to represent more spots than obviously, 4 teams that get in the college football playoff. There's a lot more teams that can advance and get put into the national spotlight in different regions in basketball than there is in football. But this tournament, without a doubt, filling out a bracket now, you might as well just throw a dart at a dartboard.
I have the worst bracket that I've ever had, Jake. Like I was looking at this, Jake. I got 6 out of 16 Sweet 16s correct. That is like, am I just getting worse at my job? Please don't answer that, America. Please don't answer that.
Well, Look, it's like on Harry Potter when they have the letters that right when you open them and read them, they incinerate. My bracket did the same thing.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely berserk. What is going on with this and how it's going down? Jake, do you find yourself rooting for the underdog, or do you like the bigger brands to be in this thing?
But look, I think it's a good mix, but I'll always err to the side of the underdog, unless they're playing my team. It's like they say on The Dark Knight, man. Some men just want to watch the world burn. Give me FDU, give me FAU, give me some of these smaller schools. I like it, man. I get involved in it, and man, I was cheering on FDU the other night against FAU, who technically FAU's an underdog, but teams like Princeton, and it's good stories. I think the tournament has been fantastic, but again, what did we expect? The parity in college basketball this year was off the charts, and I think a lot of that is due to the COVID year and the freedom of the transfer portal. I think it was a rising tide that lifted all ships, mid-major and major.
Jake Crane joining us here on Offsides. Marc, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the fan upstate. I thought your take on the Nick Saban quote was interesting. And for those that are unfamiliar with this, Saban came out and said there's no such thing as wrong place, wrong time. Nate Oates had used that as the principal reason why Brandon Miller was playing. Wrong place, wrong time. And Nick Saban today suspends one of his best players for the same reason. So can you bring our audience up to your take on this, Jake?
Yeah, well, look, the way I look at Nick Saban, because again, to me, he's the GOAT, and it's not just because of on-field schematics or recruiting. It's because he has control. He does the best job of anyone who has control over the program of seeing the full scope. Nick Saban does not say things or do things without a meaning or having some idea of pushback. Now, I do think where situations like this pop up, I don't think he was personally attacking Nate Oates. I think Nick Saban so singularly focused on one thing, and that is winning. And he knows how important culture is in that. I don't know if it was subliminal. I just don't feel like it, because I always ask myself this, Mark, when Nick Saban or when anybody makes a statement that does a good job of controlling what's going on. What is there to gain? What do you get from it? What is the positivity that comes out of it? And I have racked my brain and asked other people. There is no positive outcome for using that term from Nick Saban with what just happened with Nate Oates. So what now? You're going to add more distraction to the basketball team that's in the Sweet 16? You're going to bring more dark cloudiness over Alabama, thinking there's a problem between the coaches of the two most important sports in that, athletic department? No. I think he was just talking. I think he was speaking from a place of the football program, and it just so happened to be a phrase that Nate Oates shouldn't have used that correlated with those two press conferences. I'm not buying the, Nick Saban wanted to send a message to Nate Oates. If you want to send a message to Nate Oates, you walk from the football facility over to the basketball facility, you knock on his door, and you sit him down. I've had some people say, oh, well, he's trying to mentor him. Well, I don't want my mentor talking about my problems in a press conference. I don't think that's exactly how that works. So I think it wasn't as intentional as what people think. But at the end of the day, Nick Saban is right. Guilt by association is a true thing. You are what you eat. If you shove your face full of Reese's peanut butter cups and cake, you're going to be fat. If you hang out with people that get in trouble and do stupid things, the odds of you getting in trouble are very, very high. So I think what he said was fantastic, but I don't think there was any intentional nefariousness to what Nate Oates said. I think it was more coincidental than anything.
Jake Crane joining us here on Offsides, the Fan Upstate. Okay, Jake, I know that you are a sports bettor, and so I need to tell. I know that you will give me the skinny, Jake. I know that you are not going to blow smoke up my skirts. So here's what I did today, Jake. I have
cost you double.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. I have 2 money line bets. If I win one of them, I win. Okay, so will I go 1 for 2, Jake? Princeton over Creighton. San Diego State over Alabama.
I think you're going to go 1 for 2.
Yeah,
I think you're going to go 1 for 2. And to be honest with you, I think it could be either or. And people say, "Oh, you're crazy. There's no way San Diego State can beat Alabama." San Diego State runs a style that does not fit what Alabama wants to do. And if you haven't noticed in basketball, when two teams play each other that have opposite pace, one is really fast and one is really slow, it seems that about 75% of the time, it's the slower pace that gets adopted because that's easier to control. You don't count on missed shots and things like you have to count on missed shots. You can take the ball up at your own pace. So I think San Diego State is going to slow this game down. They're going to play it within the last 12 seconds of the shot clock. They're physical enough to hang with Alabama, and they've got old guards. But I'm looking at this Princeton team. I don't know if anybody's playing better than Princeton is right now. I mean, if you look, are they the most athletic team? No, but they make good decisions. They don't turn the ball over. They run their offense, and they've got guys that make big plays in big moments. Alec Pierce, the Colts wide receiver's little brother, the freshman, is an absolute dog. And they have the one guy, I can't pronounce his last name to save my life, but he's a huge wing. He can shut guys down. They're going to put him on Brandon. If Princeton plays Alabama, they're going to put him on Brandon Miller eventually. But, man, I think you're going to go 1 for 2. And I would lean Princeton, but I would not be shocked if you went 2-0.
Jake, in the last segment, we talked about Colin Cowherd's comments that people love upsets, but then we're stuck with the Furmans of the world. I compared his attitude there to, looking through a paper towel tube for what's for a wide range of teams that are worth watching. How do we change the minds of the general public that mid-majors are valid and it's worth it for them to be there? Will it take a mid-major not named Houston winning it all, or is it basically impossible?
I think winning it all is a huge thing. Getting to the Final Four is one thing, but look at college baseball. I mean, Coastal Carolina won it a couple of years ago, and it really opened the doors. These smaller schools seeing, look, it's just like anything. Once the precedent's set, it can be done again. But look, I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. I don't think you want all Cinderellas and you don't want all big brands. It's like Goldilocks, the porridge. One's too hot, one's too cold. You get a good mix of Cinderellas and a good mix of big brands, and that porridge is going to be just right. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being stuck with the Furmans of the world or anything like that. I just don't think we've seen – I mean, hell, Gonzaga hasn't even won the whole thing. So I think once they break that glass ceiling, it's going to be a little bit more accepted like it is in college baseball now. But I think just like anything in life, balance is the key. And I think a good mixture of Cinderellas and big brands will get the porridge mix just right.
World Baseball Classic final tonight, Jake. Has it grabbed you? Has the event grabbed you?
Well, look, anytime the USA's playing, I mean, I'll put on my Patriot gear and strap up. But it hasn't, just overwhelmed me. I mean, there's been some good baseball. I hate to see the injuries. But, yeah, I'll be watching tonight. At the end of the day, it is USA, and I want us to win and everything. So it hasn't, to me, it's kind of like the XFL. Do I think it's cool? Yeah. Will I watch it every now and then? Yeah. Is it a point of viewing? No.
Jake Crane, ladies and gentlemen, big opinions like this, humor, analogies, the whole 9 yards, host of Crane & Company, the national sports show, part of the Real Daily Wire. Check him out Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, right there on YouTube, and follow him on Twitter at @JakeCrane_. Jake, thanks so much, pal. Great catching up with you.
Hey, it's always good, my friend. Y'all be good.
All right, take care. Jake Crane from Crane & Company. Coming up next on the show, why it's Shane Beamer against the world. This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 p.m. full show. Man, I hate when this happens. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't get to the text line fast enough, and then you guys are texting in, and I don't realize what you're talking about. Spur Daddy says, keep bringing the upsets in March Madness. I'm here for them. I get that one, Spur Daddy. Texter says, NBA players only have loyalty to themselves and each other. Player collusion, empowerment, and movement has destroyed the NBA. So says UNC Chris. I don't think player movement has destroyed the NBA, but collusion most certainly has hurt the NBA. And that's why I propose that each team in the NBA only be allowed to have one max player. Second highest paid player on every team can make $5 million less per year than maximum salary. Then you're asking guys, do you want to win? Well, you're going to have to take less. You want to be a max guy? You're going to be the only max guy in the team. How do you like them apples? Texter says, Mark, have you seen the proposed college football bracket? If it was a 64-team tournament, it was interesting to see the matchups that predicted. Texter, there's no way you can tell me that that's good for college football, right? A 64-team playoff. Yeah, we're going to be at the same place we are in college basketball. Why even play the regular season? By the way, hello to all of you checking us out on YouTube right now. All you got to do is go to the Fan Upstate on YouTube, and you'll see us right there. Diesel and I have been rocking it out. We do 2 hours of the feed on YouTube each and every day. So if you'd like to see these lovely locks of my gray beard and Diesel's marathon long beard, they're on YouTube right now for you at the Fan Upstate. Victor says I could have gone all year without hearing Colin Cowherd's voice. KC Chiefs Chad says diversity's not an old wooden ship. Was it Anchorman? Yes, it was. KC Chiefs Chad. That is what's up, my friends. That is what's up. Text, and I don't know what this is related to. Texter says Trump donated his entire salary, more sacrifice than the rest of the Republican Party combined. He worked for nothing. That doesn't sound like it's intended for this show, but the word fan is the first that shows up on the text line. Was I talking about anything that would fit that? What do you think? Fry, Bueller, anybody? So I would like very much to get to this. Shane Beamer was on a podcast yesterday, and I thought this was really interesting. He was on the podcast Bussin' with the Boys, and Bussin' with the Boys is a barstool show, and it's out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they got to go ahead to come inside the football offices, Columbia, South Carolina, and sit down with Coach Beamer. Now, you are going to hear a little break in this audio, and that is because in the commercial break, I took out a wordy dirt. Okay, I took out one of George Carlin's 7 dirty words. I'm actually very surprised that these guys from Barstool would be sitting down with Beamer and dropping an MF. I'm actually really surprised they would do that. And Beamer's laughing at it too. But anyway, I want you to listen to this because they got Shane Beamer to answer a question here that, frankly, I'm surprised that he was willing to answer. Check this out. Yeah, that's my bad. That's what happens when you
fight. And who do you think you could beat in a fight? Want to fight. And who do you think you could beat in a fight? This is hard-hitting journalism. You're welcome. Journalism. I hope you're enjoying yourself. We really are.
No, I'm sure you. I feel like you are.
Okay, you didn't reciprocate. That's okay. I feel like I'm having a good time.
Yeah. There's a few I'd say that certainly at times I've definitely would want to fight as well. We sit in those head coaches meetings and we're all competitors and we're intense and it's there's great respect for one another, but there's things that happen outside that room and things like that you're kind of like, come on, man. I'm not gonna say a name.
Yes,
but there's a few. And who do I feel like I could take? I don't know. I worked with Sam Pittman at Georgia. I worked with Kirby when I was at Georgia. So I mean, I know both those guys well. I feel like from a quickness standpoint, agility, all that, I could probably take Sam. You know, he may be in a beer drinking contest or something like that. I'm sure, but Sam and I were neighbors at South Carolina, so and he's a little bit older than me. So I don't know. I've been neighbors at Georgia, so I don't know. There's a few. I mean, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I stay pretty active and I try and work out regularly and things like that.
Fantastic.
So, well, I appreciate you saying
You
that.
look well.
So I really feel like I could hold my own and be okay with all 13 other ones in that room. I mean, there'd be some battles, but you know, there's a few in particular that would be a priority at the top of the list. Maybe
On your schedule, who's a team that you love to obviously be up late in the fourth quarter and grinning?
My wife and I literally just had that conversation this morning about a team in the SEC that goes back to who I'd want to fight right now as well. There's one in particular right now that I'm not really high on. And my wife literally just said, you know, we need this year when we play them, yada, yada, yada. So ask me again. Y'all come back during the season and we'll talk about.
I want to know now. Will you tell us off camera?
I'll tell you off camera.
Well, you know, Shane Beamer can clutch pearls better than any other coach in the SEC. We know that.
Yeah.
We know that.
Certainly can.
How come they get to asking these really disrespectful questions that you don't ask of a sitting head coach in the SEC, but he gets his panties in a bunch when we talk about it?
Yeah.
What is up with that, Shane?
Yeah. Look, some shows can have fun and some shows cannot. I was really surprised that he answered that question, if I'm honest with you. Diesel, for this little thing that I'm going to do, okay? But before we do that, let's get to the Coach Stoops audio here. Because, Diesel, there is no way it's not Coach Stoops, right? Like, there is no possible way that Shane Beamer's talking about coaches he would like to throw down with in the SEC. What were his words? There's certain guys I'd be looking for before others. There's no way it isn't Coach Stoops based on what he said about Shane Beamer indirectly. Now, we bring you the audio of Coach Stoops from Marty and McGee.
What's the best part of, like, what you've built? Like, the output of that? I mean, the winning's great.
Yeah.
But what's the part of it where you just go, we've done this?
No, I think ultimately it's the respect throughout the league when you're dealing with coaches and players. You know, win or lose, you walk out and you know you're going to be in for a physical matchup. You know, that we're coming to play, we're coming to compete, and having that mindset, because that's not easy to change.
Right.
You know, I've talked years ago about climate versus culture. You know, it's easy to change a climate. You know, you just change a uniform, talk a little game, dance around, put on some stupid sunglasses, and you could change a climate. But to change a culture.
Okay, so we cut the audio right there because Diesel is like, and then he tries to say afterwards he wasn't talking about Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer had just done that.
Yeah.
He had just done that within the last week. There was a 0% chance he wasn't talking about Shane Beamer there. 0% chance, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, when Shane Beamer says at the end of that first clip, my wife and I were talking this morning, and she said, yeah, there's one in particular that we're going to have something for. Who is it? Like, what is your $1 million guess here? Okay? What is your $1 million guess? And then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Okay? I'm going to reach out to Bussin' with the Boys. Okay? And I'm going to try to find out what that is, who that is. Okay? Then I'm going to share it. And Diesel, this is not for social media. Okay? This is for you, the Offsiders, and only you. If I get an answer, I will share the answer with you guys and only you. Because Beamer wouldn't share the answer with you. Right? Look, I'm not blaming him for that. It's smart not to say names. When we had Mike Bothwell on the other day, Diesel, he didn't say the name of the Power 5 player. He said, why the hell didn't you transfer from Furman? Why didn't you get out of there for more money? Why didn't you take the dough? He didn't say the name, but he said earlier in the year, there was a Power 5 player who said that to me. And we kind of narrowed it down to Penn State and North Carolina State for the team that player came from, right? So here's what I've done, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take your guesses, okay? And then there is going to be very special recognition for the person, okay? There's going to be special recognition for the person that correctly names the coach in the SEC that Beamer wants to fight. Who is it? 71307 on the text line is where you can get to us. That's 71307 on the text line. Who is the guy in the SEC that Beamer wants a piece of? I know. Mark Ryan, it's you. I appreciate it. We are an SEC country. I appreciate it. But he was talking about sitting SEC head coaches, not radio show hosts who are sitting down in a chair. Okay, sitting SEC head coaches. Who is the guy that Beamer wants a piece of? So, in typical offsides fashion, when we come back on the show, we're going to ask you, can Beamer take him? Okay, one by one, can Beamer take him? That's next here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel seeking your engagement here on the Fan of States. What's good, everybody? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Marc, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 p.m. today. Full show for you guys. So you heard the audio. Shane Beamer said, was asked by Bussin' with the Boys on a Barstool podcast who he would like to fight in the SEC among the head coaches, who he could take on. And then he was asked, well, who would you really like to be sticking it to in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter? And Beamer said, yeah, my wife was actually talking to me about that this morning. There's definitely a guy. And he said he would tell Bussin' with the Boys off the air. So we said to you, who is that coach? Who is that coach that Beamer really wants to throw down with? And we have the audio. We share the audio with you of Mark Stoops saying, look, you can change a climate, but can you change a culture? It's easy to change a climate. You can bump around with some stupid sunglasses on. There's only one coach who has bumped around with stupid sunglasses on. That's Shane Beamer. So it's pretty obvious who that is. We're asking you, who is the beef with from Shane Beamer? Dexter says Beamer cries and pouts better than all the coaches in the league. So says Dead Sexy from Taylor. Sure, text into the show. He says, Mark, it is definitely Mark Stoops. What is it with Beamer and Marks? Why does he got a problem with me? And Mark Stoops, look, Marks with a K have 36% more testosterone than Marks with a C do. Okay, so come on, Beamer. If you're going to pick on Marks, at least make it Mark with a K. This is Mark with a C over here. Okay, testosterone challenged Mark with a C. So Sherb says Beamer would take Mark Stoops to the woodshed. By the way, what is coming up this hour on the show? At 4:30, we are going to activate our Media Mock Draft 2023. We have a 2-year consecutive stretch run of never missing a day. It's a hell of a lot of pressure on me, folks. But provided that our guest today answers, we will be 1 for 1 in 2023. We look forward to that. Also, they're saying that one particular game could be the most watched game ever globally. I'll tell you what that is in the 440 segment of this particular hour. But it wouldn't be us if we didn't call Beamer to the carpet and go coach by coach and simply ask who wins. Simply ask who wins here. Now, Diesel, the one that you're probably going to have to look up is, I believe, Zach Arnett from Mississippi State. Okay? Zach Arnett from Mississippi State. He's the guy that we know the least about. Zach Arnett, Mississippi State, the new head coach at Mississippi State. And, well, I'm looking at him right now, and there's one no for Shane Beamer. There's one no for just about everybody in the SEC. So, okay, here we go, Diesel. Very simple. Yes or no, could Shane Beamer take him? Nick Saban.
No.
Yes, he could. No. He couldn't take Nick Saban.
I don't think Shane Beamer could beat anyone in a fight. Shane Beamer's too hot-headed. Shane Beamer's too emotional. Shane Beamer would run away crying like a little girl no matter who he gets into a fight with because he cannot control himself. I'm going to say no to every single one of these. I just want you to know that. I think there's a line of 13 dudes out there ready to kick Shane Beamer's ass. His lily weak ass.
Well, I was just about to tell you guys, we here at Offsides would not let the beefs of yesterday infiltrate our objective report on who could beat Shane Beamer. But it is clear that I'm the one who was offended. I'm the one who he came after.
Yeah, but he came after the show. He came after the station.
Yeah,
he came after all of us. Charmin sauce, man.
Well, if you have a yes for anybody, let me know. Okay? But I'm going to assume Diesel's answer is a no for everyone on here unless stated otherwise. I think he can take Nick Saban. Nick Saban's too old. Okay? I'm going person for person. Now, Nick Saban with a temper scares me. Okay? He definitely does. Nick Saban with a temper is not somebody anybody wants to fight. But, they're of similar fitness level, and Beamer's a lot younger. Brian Kelly versus Beamer.
Brian Kelly.
That's Beamer. Come on, family.
He would get his family to come and curb stomp Shane Beamer into the dirt.
The crawfish boil's going to get you, Beamer? No, Beamer's got Brian Kelly big time. Beamer versus Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze.
Oh, they're both full of it, Diesel. They're both full of it. They're both full of it. Come on here. How can you determine which one is more full of it than the other? Beamer would beat Hugh Freeze. Beamer is younger than Hugh Freeze. He absolutely would beat Hugh Freeze. So I've got Beamer 2-1 now against SEC head coach.
I got him 0-3.
Diesel, have you seen Zach Arnett? Have you looked up? Have you looked up Zach Arnett, Diesel? If you haven't,
oh dear God!
If you haven't, your wives probably have.
Okay? Oh dear God! Yeah, he would make the nickname "Cry and Shame" a reality.
This Zach Arnett is the last guy you want to pick a fight with at the bar.
He looks like a strength and conditioning coach.
Oh yeah.
Like all strength and conditioning coaches somehow look exactly the same.
I mean, just the look on his face, though, even without the body, like, get me away from this guy, man.
He doesn't even have to shave his head. It just grows into a mohawk automatically.
Get me away from this guy. Yeah, so Zach Arnett, I've got Beamer thus far 2-2, okay, in the cage match. Nobody leaves until somebody dies. Beamer against Sam Pittman.
Sam Pittman.
You see where this is going, ladies and gentlemen? I come to my producer for objectivity, and this is the crap that I get back. Beamer beats Sam Pittman, Diesel. And I know what you're thinking. Pittman's a lot bigger. He's also a lot older. Okay? He even said he used Sam Pittman as an example. He said he thinks my quickness would work in his favor. So I've got Beamer now 3-2. 5 matches down, 8 to go. I have no idea what to say about this one. Beamer against Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. I know exactly what to say.
This is A-level analysis, ladies and gentlemen. A-level analysis. Beamer against Lane Kiffin. I think Beamer is in better shape than Lane Kiffin is. So I'm going to go Beamer. You guys, never again say that I can't be objective. Look at what I'm doing here. Okay? Look at what I'm doing. Now, Beamer against Mark Ryan in a landslide. Okay? But Beamer against Lane Kiffin, I'll go Beamer. 4-2. Beamer against Jimbo Fisher, Diesel.
Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, would you cut him out? This is getting ridiculous here. This is getting ridiculous.
We get his multi-million-dollar offensive line to come help him out.
Let's see here. I'm going to say Beamer as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got Beamer, Diesel. 6-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's 6-1. Here we go. Billy Napier. I got Billy Napier as well. I got
Billy Napier's got some bulldog in him. I think he's like one of those quiet guys who doesn't let you know.
No,
but the dude can scrap.
If you press Billy Napier too far, there would be a level of volcanic ash that comes out of that you would want absolutely no part of. So I'm going to go Billy Napier, only partly because he's my coach. Okay. But you guys could agree, right? Napier over Shane Beamer. That looks like Napier's win, right? Don't you agree? So I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 6-2 for Shane Beamer. Come on, Diesel. Shane Beamer against Josh Heupel. Come on, Shane Beamer against Elmer Fudd, Diesel.
He would sit on him and squash him into jelly.
Against Elmer Fudd. He can beat Elmer Fudd. Shane Beamer is going to beat Elmer Fudd. He can absolutely beat Elmer Fudd.
More like Josh Hayukit, and he's going to punch him in the nose.
One guy's in shape, Diesel. One guy's not. Okay.
Have you ever been outside of a country western bar and watched fat dudes scrap? Oh my God, those guys will throw haymakers.
Diesel, I would tell you
power behind those punches, man. It's not about muscle. It's about mass.
I would tell you to look up Clark Lee, Diesel, but I know the answer. No matter what. From Vanderbilt. I know the answer because the answer is the same for.
Well, not necessarily. Who do you think I would pick?
Beamer against Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, and a car for you, and a car for you, and a car for you.
I think Clark Lee would whoop his ass.
I agree. I think Clark Lee would whoop Shane Beamer's ass. 6 ways to Sunday. So, my friends, we have 3 coaches left. Beamer is 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 6-2, 7-2, 7-3 on my sheet. Now we save the best 3 for last season. Mark Stoops, Eli Drinkwitz, and Kirby Smart. Mark Stoops, Eli Drinkwitz, and Kirby Smart. Mark Stoops, Shane Beamer against Mark Stoops. Diesel.
Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops. Easy answer. Easy answer. Next.
So Shane Beamer is 46 years of age. Mark Stoops is 55. Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen Mark Stoops angry. You won't like him when he's angry. I saw Shane Beamer when he was angry, and I like flicked him away like a gnat. You know, it didn't really do anything to me. Mark Stoops has got he becomes Meatball Mark Stoops when he's angry, Diesel.
Meatball Mark. I wouldn't call him Meatball Mark to his face.
His face gets incredibly red, Diesel.
But people are going to be calling in and calling you Meatball Mark.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm going to go Mark Stoops over Shane Beamer. 55 to 46, that's advantage Shane, but the size and the temper, when Shane Beamer's upset, I think it's a little bit like a Chihuahua. When Mark Stoops is upset, I think it's a lot like a pit bull. So I'm going to go with Mark Stoops over Shane Beamer. Then, Diesel, we've got Beamer against, now this one, Diesel, here you lose either way. Beamer against Eli Drinkwitz.
Oh, Eli Drinkwitz is known to fight dirty. So give me Eli Drinkwitz.
He's going Eli Drinkwitz. Beamer would pound that mop-headed fool into absolute and total oblivion, Diesel. By the way, I hope we're podcasting this segment. This is fun.
Oh, yeah.
This is fun.
Oh, yeah.
He would pound that mop-headed fool into oblivion. And Drinkwitz would be crying for his mama. Drinkwitz is that standard all bark, no bite guy. You know, when it comes time to throw down, he's got nothing to say for himself. And then Diesel, this is perhaps the easiest call for me of all of them. Kirby Smart versus Shane Beamer.
Kirby Smart would rip his head off, and absolutely, you know what, down his neck.
Absolutely destroy Shane Beamer. Absolutely mutilate. Kirby Smart is the same answer as Mark Stoops, but 10 years younger, right? And have you heard Kirby Smart's pregame speeches?
If Kirby Smart and Shane Beamer got into a fight, you would never find Shane Beamer's body.
That's it.
You'd know something terrible happened, but you would never find it.
I'd love to share with you how intimidating Kirby Smart can sound, but we're not allowed to share that audio with you on the air, okay? Like him giving his pregame speeches. So I've got Shane Beamer, ladies and gentlemen. Again, never say I can't be objective. I've got Shane Beamer 8-4. Well, wait a minute, 8-5 against SEC head coaches. I have got him beating Nick Saban, Brian Kelly, Hugh Freeze, Sam Pittman, Lane Kiffin, Jimbo Fisher, Josh Heupel, and Eli Drinkwitz. And I've got Shane Beamer losing in a throwdown fisticuffs to Zach Arnett, the new Mississippi State head coach, Billy Napier, Clark Lee, Mark Stoops, and Kirby Smart. Those are the L's. Where did I get it right, ladies and gentlemen? And where did I get it wrong? Let's see what you this is so much fun. Let's see what you guys are saying on the text line on this. Let's see here. Texter says, just give 3 to 4 years, Mark Ryan, and Beamer won't even be in South Carolina. He will continue to win 6 to 8 games and get fired, or B, he will take South Carolina to an SEC championship game and leave for another school. Well, if he can do that, why would he leave, Texter? Why would he leave if he's able to do that? You know, I'm generally not a fan, guys. I think the best coaches can win anywhere. And I remember not being thrilled that Florida hired Dan Mullen because, he elevated Mississippi State, but they never won at the highest level there. And everyone told me I was an idiot and said, Mark, if he did that at Mississippi State, imagine what he could do at Florida. And he was better at Florida, but he wasn't championship caliber at Florida. So, if Shane Beamer was ever going to leave for another destination, he's got to show me, like if I'm a USC or one of the big brands, he's got to show me he can win the SEC. And then again, from his point of view, if he's winning the SEC, why would he leave? Right? Why would he leave? Let's see here. Texter says Shane Beamer would get his ass kicked by my son. My son is a sixth grader. That's what a texter says. Texter says, Mark, the beef that he's got is with Jimbo. Diesel, can we put a poll on this? This would be great. Shane Beamer recently intimated that there's one coach that he's got a beef with. Who is it? Is it Mark Stoops? Is it Eli Drinkwitz? Is it Jimbo Fisher? Or is it other? Mark Stoops, Eli Drinkwitz, Jimbo Fisher, or other? Beamer says he and his wife on the podcast, Busting with the Boys, as they have a beef with a certain SEC coach. They'd love to stick it to him. Who is it? Let's see here. Dexter says Beamer would win against at least 8 SEC coaches. So says Cocky for a reason. Cocky, that's exactly what I said. I had 8. JT and
Not
Greer
exactly
says,
the most objective response, is it?
JT and Greer says, Mark, you need to give us the height, weight, ages for a more accurate guess. I did the best I could in short order, Texter. Did the very best I could. I don't have the weights. I don't even know if the athletic departments have the weights. Andrew Swasey would take them all down. Who's that, Diesel?
I don't know. The only weight, though, is going to be Shane Beamer's wife in the weight room waiting for him to come out of the ER.
Oh. Texter says, in the most important matchup, Beamer would beat Dabo. No chance. Beamer against Dabo? Diesel, there's no chance. There's like 7 years that separate them. There's like 30 years of muscle that separates them. No chance. No chance. Shane Beamer against Nick Saban would look like Robin Ventura against Nolan Ryan. Diesel, that might not ring a bell for you, but Nolan Ryan put Robin Ventura in a headlock.
Oh, I remember this.
Remember that?
I mean, I don't remember. I wasn't watching it live, but I do know what this references.
And Dexter's saying that Nick Saban is Nolan Ryan. I would say Josh Heupel looks more like Hamburglar from the 80s Happy Meal fame than Elmer Fudd. So says Spur Daddy.
No, Josh Heupel looks like Bobby Hill.
Okay.
He looks exactly like Bobby Hill. Don't you remember those memes?
Yeah, I do.
Josh Heupel, side by side, Bobby Hill, they're twins.
Shane Beamer is 5'8" and 167 pounds. Come on, guys. Beamer's not kicking anyone's ass. Is that his weight? Really? 167? I could fit him in my back pocket in that case. Dexter says he will leave because by that time he will realize that's the limit for South Carolina. And he's not going to win in the SEC.
Somebody would throw a punch and then Beamer would whine to his Twitter followers.
Oh, we've also seen that happen, ladies and gentlemen, haven't we? We have borne the brunt of that frustration. I could see Beamer jumping to the NFL after his great success at South Carolina. And a texter says, my guess as to who the beef is with is Mark Stoops, hands down. Mark Stoops, hands down. Diesel, it could be with Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo gets on everybody's nerves. It could be with Eli Drinkwitz's punk ass because, like, that guy, just like I've never seen somebody talk more with less results to show for it than Eli Drinkwitz. Certainly behind the scenes, he's done something to piss off Shane, right? The difference is that Mark Stoops said it publicly, and there's some honor in doing it publicly, right? Wear some stupid sunglasses, changing the climate with some stupid sunglasses. That's what we do. All right, my friends, there you go. I have Beamer going 8-5 against the SEC head coaches in a throwdown. Diesel says 0-13. We are going to debut our media mock draft for you next, right here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate. So, what is the media mock draft? Every single year, my friends, at this time, we bring you to the city corresponding with each pick in the NFL draft. Okay? So, when we start the media mock draft, we go to the to a media member from the city, okay, from the city that has the number 1 overall pick, right? So this year, that is the Carolina Panthers and Charlotte. Then we go to Houston, Texas for the 2nd overall pick. Third, we go to Phoenix, Arizona for the 3rd overall pick. Then we go to Indianapolis, and you're like, well, Mark Ryan, are you really bringing us a media member from each and every city corresponding with when they pick in the draft? Yes, I am. And when they say to me, how should we pick, Mark? Should I pick who I would pick, or should we pick who I think the team will pick? And I always say, pick who you think the team will pick. Okay? You are picking for the team. The team has given you the card, and you have to turn the card in. That is how we do what we do, and it's one of my favorite things to do every single year. I got to be honest with you, though, it's a challenge, and I know it's only a matter of time before this streak is broken, because we were 32 for 32 in 2021, 32 for 32 in 2022, and all that needs to happen is for it not to happen, right? For us to break the streak is somebody tells me they can do it, and then they don't pick up their phone, right? Like that's the only thing that needs to happen for the streak to be broken. But we're going to try it out again today. If you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, the Atlanta Falcons are picking 8th. Chicago Bears have now dropped down to number 9, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at 19, and the Seattle Seahawks number 20. Seattle Seahawks number 20. Okay, joining us right now to kick off our media mock draft, she has done a fantastic job covering the Carolina Panthers. And she like, again, Diesel, like the line on the show today, diversity is not an old wooden ship. Sheena Quick diversifies her portfolio. She is a member of the Pro Football Writers Association. She is on 1340 Fox Sports. She is on TV with a halftime report. She writes for Queen City News, and she is a Carolina Panthers beat writer. And she joins us right now on Offsides, Marc Ryan and Diesel, right here on the Fan Upstate. Sheena Quick, fantastic to have you on with us. Thanks for making the time. Great to meet you. How are you today?
Of course. Nice to meet you. I'm great. How's your day going?
I'm doing very, very well. So good to meet you. So, Sheena, can you briefly tell us a little bit about you and introduce yourself to our audience here in the Carolinas? We are in Carolina Panthers, Clemson Tigers, South Carolina Gamecocks country.
Nice. Well, as you said, my name is Sheena Quick. I am a multimedia journalist covering the Carolina Panthers for Fox Sports 1340. I'm a guest analyst on Queen City News, and I have a bi-weekly sports column on Revolt TV called The Halftime Report. I also host a Panthers podcast along with Vashai Hurt called Quick Blitz. So we do a lot of Twitter spaces, we do podcasts and things like that during the season, in the off season, when it comes to the Panthers, there's never a dull off season. There's always material, always something to talk about. And I'm a mom of 3 boys, and super duper active. So I guess that sums me up.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic, Sheena. So the way this works, Sheena, is, and I know Diesel was giving you some instruction on the phone there. We're going to say the pick is in. We'll play a little sounder. Then we'll allow you to elaborate on why you made the pick. And Sheena, the pick is not who you would draft. The pick is as though you are taking the card from the Carolina Panthers themselves. What name do you expect to see on it? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with the first pick of the 2023 Offsides Media Mock Draft. The pick is in. And with that number 1 pick in the 2023 Offsides Media Mock Draft, Sheena Quick, representing the Carolina Panthers, selects
Bryce.
Quarterback, Alabama. There you go, Sheena. Why is Bryce Young the choice?
Bryce Young has been that guy at every single level of the game, high school, college. I expect much of the same from him at the pro ranks. He knows how to win. Great ball placement, extremely efficient. People say that the height is a downside for them, but the thing is, he was that height when he won the Heisman. He's been that height as he has commandeered this Alabama football team.
No, he really has. And, what do you make, Sheena, of all the reports? Like, I talked to a source last week, Sheena, that said that he was hearing that it was likely to be C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson. They love the size of C.J. Stroud. If they're willing to trade down, they don't want to trade down too far. They can get Anthony Richardson. Frank Reich hasn't been a smaller quarterbacks guy. Why do you think that changes here?
But he did have a high grade on Russell Wilson, as we told us yesterday. The press conference, he said not to read too far into it, but it's March. Everybody's going to read into it. I could see them going either Stroud or Bryce Young. Honestly, I can even see him going Anthony Richardson, mainly because of the talent that they have acquired and the experience acquired on both staff and in free agency this season. So I feel like they're building a team to just be able to drop a rookie quarterback into it and they be successful.
Yeah, we will soon see. We will absolutely soon see. So what do you think is possible for this team next year, Sheena? Because, look, you lose DJ Moore, that hurts. You lose Christian McCaffrey, that really hurts. Many have said the team has done well in free agency, but the New Orleans Saints have added Derek Carr. And traditionally, the team in each division that has the best quarterback wins the division. Do you look at this Panthers team as a division winner, or should fans expect another rebuilding year?
No, I think that this is a win now team. We're putting the pieces in place, especially at a time where the NFC South is wide open. You said that the Saints added Derek Carr, and that's it. That's just Derek Carr. I don't think that's going to be enough for this to just outright be the favorite to the NFC South. It's wide open. If the Panthers get this quick right come April 27th, I think they run the South for a couple of years. They have a really young team. Well, I'm not going to say really young, because they have young vets on the defensive side of the ball. Those guys that we saw get drafted a couple of years ago when the Panthers went all defense. These guys are 3-4 years into the league now. They've grown, they've matured, and they've been productive. They just have always been short of quarterback.
Sheena, do you look at any quarterback that the Carolina Panthers draft and believe that we're going to see them by game 5, 6, 7 of this season? Or with the pieces and everybody they have there, do you think that, they might be given a full year to learn or see them early?
I think you see them early. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're going with Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, I know a couple of the drawbacks of Anthony Richardson was that, he's young, he's only 25 games in his collegiate career. But if you go with one of those two older guys, I think you see them early, sooner rather than later.
Sheena Quick joining us. Sheena, you seem like a very glasses half full kind of person, and I identify that about you right away. I really appreciate that about you, Sheena. I am known for sometimes being the other side of the coin, and I had 1 foot off the ledge when I saw that trade for number 1. This is a team, Sheena, that in 1995 traded the number 1 pick down to number 5, and all they got in addition to the 5th pick was a second rounder. And then they go from 9 to 1. They give up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and DJ Moore was the ghost of Cam Newton not available as well. How much more could they have possibly been charged for moving up 8 spots when all they had to do was lose the final 2 months of the year and they would have had the number 1 overall pick?
I mean, you say that, but then you have some who's fighting for a chance to be a head coach. He's not going in there to lose. Even though he was not set up for success at all, both Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were hurt. He was down to QB3. They traded away Christian McCaffrey, traded away Robbie Anderson. He was down 2 defensive starters on the other side of the ball. Lost 2 defensive starters that did not finish the season in Dante Jackson and J.C. Horn, the 2 primary corners, and they were still only 1 game out of winning the NFC South. So, that being said, I don't think that they paid too much to move up to 1 because time is of the essence. David Tepper, he's still a fairly new owner. He's trying to do everything different and opposite of what he did when he hired Matt Rule. So you're trying to, reverse all those years of apathy. No price is too much. And, of course, you're going to miss DJ Moore's production, but you have to see that they've added Adam Thielen. I don't think he alone can can replace DJ Moore. I think they need to pick up at least one more receiver, either via draft or free agency. We don't know which one that's going to be. DJ Shark's name is still being thrown out there as a possibility. We don't know, but I think that when this team, quote unquote, loses cornerstones of their team, I feel like they responded well. You know, Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, they came in and set franchise rushing records when Christian McCaffrey started. A lot of times when you have an athlete like a Cam Newton or a CMC, a Christian McCaffrey, they serve as bandages, and they pretty much shoulder all the load of the team. That's why towards the end of both of their time with Carolina, both of them were injured all the time. So I feel like with the absence of those guys, you force more creative play calling. That's one, which I'm excited to see between Frank Reich and Thomas Brown. They're going to somehow work on those together throughout the season. But you also force the other guys on the team to step up to the challenge. I think we saw that in those two backs and in Terrace Marshall Jr. This is going to have an outstanding season coming up.
Panthers beat writer Sheena Quick joining us. Sheena, that said, if you set the bar for what you expect for using a first-round draft pick on any player, any position, if you set the bar as getting a solid starter, okay, which I think that's the goal, right? If you have a first-round draft pick, you're not using a first-round draft pick on anything other than what you expect to be a solid starter. 69% of the first-round quarterbacks, Sheena, the last 10 years have failed to meet that mark. So I'm looking at this year's 4 guys, and I'm thinking, okay, because I'm rooting for them. I don't root against people, Sheena, but I'm rooting for them, but I'm just looking at the numbers here. The odds are that 2 of the 4 are going to be busts. 1 might be solid, and 1 could be a star. Okay, so I know that with the number 1 pick, you're drafting the guy that you think could be a star. And then you have Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, or C.J. Stroud. One of those guys is going to be solid. And if the numbers play out the way they always have, 2 are going to be busts. So you're taking the star for us at 1. You know, not all these guys, Sheena, are going to be good, you know?
Correct. And I mean, I know a lot of people are still kind of reeling a lot of PTSD from that, was it 2018 draft with Baker and Darnold, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Lamar Jackson. But this is a different class.
It is, you know, and a lot.
Trust me, I am rooted in realism.
I appreciate that very, very much. I can hear that. I can hear that in you. So Sheena, I would say this to you, and I saw this today, and I realized that I had never considered this either. You know, that there's so much commonality between the Bears and the Panthers when you consider the Bears got the quarterback that Justin Fields that many wanted the Panthers to get. If the Panthers draft Justin Fields, maybe they're not in the position of giving all that up to trade up to number 1. But I saw somebody say today that how come nobody mentions that Jalen Hurts could have been the Panthers quarterback as well, and they took Gross Matos instead of Jalen Hurts. Was that you? Was that you, Sheena? That was you. I saw that. I'm all over your feed then because I saw that. Good on you for highlighting that. Nobody does mention that in the what if category. Why is that?
Probably because Jalen was a second rounder, a late second rounder at that. A lot of times people look at the Justin Fields because he was still there at 8 and no one was expecting him to be. So that was also the offseason where they traded for Sam Darnold and up his 5th-year option despite the bad film they already had on him. But that's why it's very glaring. It's more glaring when you're looking at, we had a top 10 pick and we didn't take this guy that was still there. As opposed to, we got to the second round and this person's there. And you don't really hear that a ton until you go back. I had to look and make sure. I said, wait a minute. Why did he win ahead of a lot of people? But particularly in a year where the Panthers were still kind of trying to figure out the quarterback situation, we could say hindsight is 2020. You can also say that perhaps under the Matt Rule staff, Jalen Hurts wouldn't be the Jalen Hurts that he is in Philly. You just never know. There's so many moving pieces to whether or not a draft pick is going to work out for your particular organization. It depends on where you go, personnel, on the staff, and on the field.
Sheena, final thing for you. Based on what you've heard, right? Like I was reading Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock draft today. He said he's heard that the Panthers are leaning C.J. Stroud. If I gave you a 100 percentage point wheel, Sheena, what's the percentage chance it actually is Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, or Anthony Richardson? I have not heard Will Levis linked to the Carolina Panthers. So if you had,
I haven't heard that at all.
yeah, if you had 100 percentage points for those three, can you give me the as of
All of
today?
them?
Yeah. What do you think?
I would go 55% Bryce, 30% Stroud, 15% AR.
There you go. 55, 30, and 15. Her name is Sheena Quick. She is an outstanding Panthers beat writer. She's a multimedia journalist, Pro Football Writers Association. She does TV. She does Panthers beat writing, 1340 AM Fox Sports out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. Sheena Quick, fantastic to meet you. Have admired your work for a long time and would love to have you on again sometime. All the best to you and your sons.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Sheena Quick, my friend. Sheena Quick, very, very good and talented Carolina Panthers beat writer. There you have it. Bryce Young is the pick. Okay, Bryce Young is the pick for Sheena Quick. He's off the clock, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of really upset people in Houston, Texas right now. All they had to do was not throw a Hail Mary to win their final game of the year, and Bryce Young, who they want, would be theirs. Bryce Young is the guy that Houston has in their crosshairs. 71307 on the text line is where you guys can get to us on the show. Texter says, I follow Sheena on Twitter. She's brilliant. Please bring her back often. So says Trey. I, too, follow Sheena Quick on Twitter. I, too, think she is brilliant. Texter says, what makes you guys experts on fighting? Probably neither of you have ever been in a fight.
I asked the texter what makes him an expert on fighting. We need some qualifications. Before you question our credentials, you need to present yours. As Cam Smith would say, drop your nuts. What?
Diesel, I will admit that I do not have an extensive fighting history. But what I did do was a greater dropping of said nuts than just about anybody else would do. I actually boxed at a nightclub in Gainesville, Florida. One of those Thursday night places that everybody goes to. It was a rooftop place, and you could sign up for a fight. And I actually fought there. I've never been more nervous in my life. I immediately was saying, why did I sign up for this? Because you got hundreds of people all around the ring, some even throwing beer bottles in the ring.
Yeah.
And I fought there, and I won the fight, Diesel. I won the fight.
And my credentials, Texter, are that I used to MC the sexy boxing night at the local gentleman's club when they would set up a ring and they would have the dancers go after each other. I would MC those events.
Listen, I consider that both of us to have superb qualifications, peerless qualifications.
And I played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out a handful of times.
There you go. That's
so
it.
come at me, bro.
I'm great at Double Dragon. Okay, I got the BA combination down. Coming up next on the show, they say this could be the most watched game ever. I'll explain. It's Offsides, the fan upstate.